Our episode sponsor this week is a guy I want you to actually meet because the business is good, but the story behind it is better. He's Elizabethtown born and raised. He's a United States Marine. He spent years away. And like a lot of us, he found his way back to Hardin County. Today, he runs a marketing shop that's helping local businesses get noticed without spending a fortune. Please welcome the owner of Riverside Marketing Solutions, Stephen Ruley.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Like I said earlier, it's an honor to be here and to be able to sponsor you guys.
Awesome. We're glad you're here. We are. Rachel, do you have your notes up?
Yep, I got my notes up.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen, we're really glad to have you here, and you're sponsoring this whole episode. So we're going to take our time and let people get to know you across the show today.
Awesome.
Yeah, this will be, we're going to break this into 3 parts that are about 5 minutes each. And then we'll do, after the first part, we'll do events. And after the second part, we'll do business news, and, until he's done. So we just want you to get to know the man behind the business. Before we get anywhere near marketing, tell folks who Stephen Ruley is. You're from right here, aren't you?
I sure am. I grew up in Elizabethtown. I grew up in Hardin County. Pretty much every corner of it at some point I think we lived in. This is my home. When I was 16, however, my dad had moved to Texas, and I kind of needed my dad a little more than mom at that age. So I ended up going to Texas with him. One cool thing about the transfer, and I didn't tell you about this, Phil, whenever we were going over things, but their school system was different down there. And so when I transferred down there, I had extra credits. So I was able to graduate high school faster than expected. My graduating class, they graduated May of 2000, and I graduated in 99. And then from there, I joined the Marine Corps.
There you go.
Okay. All right, you served in the Marine Corps. Tell us about that, when you joined, what you did.
Absolutely. So I went in January of 2000, and like I told you, my graduating class was May of 2000. By May of 2000, I had actually already gone to air traffic control school and completed that as well.
So you were air traffic controller. How long did you do that for in the Marines? Where were you stationed?
I did it 7 years active. I went to I actually had the privilege of going to Miramar, which is where they hosted Top Gun. Everybody knows that one. Also did a little bit of time up in Camp Pendleton. That's one of the largest bases on the West Coast for the Marine Corps. And then from there, I deployed to Iraq in 2004.
All right. That's interesting. And then you said after the Marine Corps, what did you do?
Once I got back from the Marine Corps, I moved back to Texas from California because I had met my first wife in high school. So we went back there where she's from. And I had a couple of odd jobs for a while, but I ended up getting into the oil field and worked on oil rigs for about 10 years.
You said you were in the reserves as well?
Yes, I did do some time in the National Guard. I will say one thing about our National Guard. Here at home, they're kind of salty dogs. But one thing you got to remember is there's a statement I've heard it 1,000 times. There's nothing stronger than the heart of a volunteer. And those guys, when I deployed my second time, top notch. I mean, it was like being with a totally different group of people.
That's really interesting. Some of these things I don't know because I grew up around grandparents that were served, but so it's always interesting to me to hear other people's stories, especially my age when I wasn't part of that sort of thing. But we definitely thank you for your service, Stephen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was going to say the same thing, Phil. Thank you for a lot of dedication and years that you gave to our country. So what was it? I mean, this huge career, you're back in Texas. What was it that pulled you back to Hardin County? I mean, from our experience, a lot of people leave, but rarely come back. So what brought you back home?
Well, to be honest, I ran out of reasons to tell my mom I couldn't.
Pull it back.
We were on the phone for years, and she's always pretty much every time we talked. So when are you moving home? When are you moving back home? And like I said, I finally ran out of reasons and got back here.
And did you say when you came back, you met your old grade school sweetheart?
Yeah. So her name was Danny. Well, I always refer to her as Danny, but so I called her Danny Bird even as a kid, but her name's Danielle. And she was actually my girlfriend in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. We happened to run into each other. I caught her single when I was single, and we got together and ended up getting married. We've been together for about 10 years now.
Congratulations. Oh, I love that. That's so cute. All right. So you came home and married your grade school sweetheart. This sounds, it legit sounds like a Hallmark movie. So you just bumped into each other back in E-Town. Your lives matched up perfectly. That's beautiful.
It is.
Thank you.
So air traffic controller, not to quickly change the topic, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
That's about the highest pressure job there is. Does that change how you handle stress now?
Yeah, it absolutely does. One of the most important things of being an air traffic controller is kind of like we spoke about before, is you have to be ready at any moment to deflect and get an aircraft out of danger. So you're constantly thinking outside of the box and giving yourself an out. It's one thing that's kind of helped me my entire life.
That's great. Stephen, hang tight. We're going to come back to you for part 2 because I want people to hear what you've been through since you came home, the flood last year and some other things you've had to live through. But we'll be back. All right. Stephen, are you back?
I believe so. Can you hear me?
I can see you. Yeah. I knew you were there. All right. So let's get back into our interview with you, Stephen. We're back with Stephen Ruley of Riverside Marketing Solutions. Stephen, before I start, I want to throw up your phone number here and everything. You can get a hold of Stephen and his company, Riverside Marketing Solutions. The best way to get a hold of him is to text him at 270-234-7822. Again, that's 270-234-7822.
Text is definitely the best.
Yeah, me too. I agree on that. With Stephen Ruley. And Stephen, coming out of the Corps, you didn't go straight into marketing. Walk us through how you got here to marketing and back in Hardin County.
All right. Like I said earlier, as soon as I got back, I first moved back to Texas and I got into the oil field, and I did that for about 10 years. And then when I moved back to Kentucky, I've had several jobs. One of my favorites, and the one I will give a huge shout out to, is Altech. By far one of the best factories a person could ever work in. They taught me how to cut and splice fiber optics, and I could practically build one of those trucks from start to finish now. They gave me a lot of knowledge.
I guess I didn't realize they had a lot of fiber in those trucks, but I guess it makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they use fiber optics for the controls for the buckets.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I didn't know that. And then you kind of jumped around and then decided, but you told me like you always were liked marketing. You said you'd see billboards in Texas or...
Oh, yeah.
And didn't you tell me a story about seeing a billboard and realizing how much money it made and thinking, I really just like that. I want not about the money as much about the art of it, I guess.
Right. Well, so I drove back and forth from Sherman, Texas to Dallas, and I passed that billboard time after time after time. And enough times went by and my brain goes, I wonder what it even costs to advertise on this thing. And I found out that it makes a penny per second. That particular billboard makes a penny per second. And then it's double-sided. So you do the math on that, insane.
Yeah, that's a fact. Something also happened to you and your family last year that a lot of folks watching will remember. Your home flooded. Tell people what that was like, because not many people went through what you did.
Yeah. Shortly after Laura gave me my start out at Bowie's, selling digital advertising out there, I think I'd gone about. We just started at the beginning of last year. So by April, we had that huge downpour, and our house actually flooded. It got up to here. I know you can't see that, but that's about 4 feet. And our home sat in water for days. And then we ended up from that point. We ended up staying in a hotel. We had to be there for 7 months while our house was being rebuilt. They literally had to tear out this whole house. The only thing that's original on it is the roof.
Well, that must be hard to lose something like that, especially your home, and then have to start over. And here's why I want people to hear that too: is when a local business owner is trying to build something or claw their way back, you actually get it. You've rebuilt. How does that show up in how you work with people?
Yeah, I've actually. What's crazy is that 7 months I couldn't do much of anything but focus on getting our house rebuilt. But as soon as that was over, I went back to the grind with marketing. I've actually grown about threefold in the last 6 months. So I'm doing triple the business that I did last year, if not more.
That's
but
cool.
You know, it's all about resilience. One thing, like if the Marine Corps ever taught me something, it's that you don't accept no for an answer, and if there's a will, there's a way. So if you hit a brick wall, if you can't go through it, you go around it. If you can't go around it, you go under or over. You know, and I use that in my life. I use it in my business. If I set a goal, I find a way to get there, and I find a way to achieve it.
There you go. Got to always readjust, man.
That's what they say: adapt and overcome.
Something I always find interesting and I love to ask is, what do you actually love about this work? Like, what makes it worth it for you?
Well, for me, kind of hard to say. So it's almost like a drug for me, really. And I love every aspect of marketing. What people don't realize is there's more to marketing than advertising. And advertising is definitely my favorite part, but it's problem solving. It's someone saying, hey, this is going wrong for me on a daily basis. I can't figure out an answer. And me stepping in and finding solutions for those answers. And then on the advertising side, it's just every day when my hand touches my mouse and I start to create an ad from nothing, I learn more. So I'm learning something, and my skill just gets better and better. And then two, every time I've shown an ad to a client, they're completely blown away and they love the work. And that part really gets to me.
That's awesome.
Hey, Steve, that is, Steve, you cared a lot. You've served us overseas, then came home and rebuilt the house after the flood. A lot of guys who've been where you've been carried for you the work. Building something real for real people is part of how you stay present. Say as much or as little as you want about that as you want. Just talking about being a dad, being a man, having these hardships sometimes that happen, and then being present.
If you could you either maybe rephrase that or kind of say it again?
Yeah, let me slow it down a little bit. I was just kind of complimenting, just saying you've served us overseas, you've done a lot, you've had to rebuild your own home recently, and I just think there's a lot of people locally in the world in general, specifically men that they've been where you've been and you've carried weight. I've carried weight as men. We just have just because we don't like to let people see. But it seems like your work, what you're doing now with marketing, from my conversation with you before this interview, it just seems like it really helps you stay present and helps you, stay in a pattern, I guess, keep at it. So I didn't know. I was just going to give you a chance to talk a little bit on that topic because I think some guys could maybe need to hear something about that. I know it was moving to me to hear, when we talked on the phone about it.
Yeah. Well, coming back from Iraq, you're in a heightened state of awareness when you come back from a situation like that. And it's hard for your body to adjust. And so a lot of us, we have what you'd call failure to adapt back in the home environment. They also they refer to it as, post-traumatic stress and that kind of thing. It's really hard for my body to get out of that heightened state of awareness. Luckily now, through counseling and medication, I've learned to kind of control myself and my impulse. And actually, I've been able to turn that strength or that weakness into a strength. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Everybody has their moments, but I will say that, instead of doing certain things in my life, I figured out a way to take that negative and flip it and actually use it in my daily life, in my business, with my kids.
As a positive, yeah, that's great. That's really good.
Put it to work. Yeah. On my hands. Can't sleep. Start creating.
Yeah, I really like that, and I think it's important for people to hear too.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their story, and it's encouraging to see what your life has led you into this direction. And on the next segment of our interview with you, we'll go through some of the great ideas you've come up with. Okay, last part was Stephen Ruley of Riverside Marketing, and I want to go ahead and throw his number up here again. Stephen, text or call 270-735-72. No, let's start again. 270-234-7822. Text that number if you want to get a hold of Stephen. We'll tell you a little bit about how he can help with marketing and advertising right now. So last part with Stephen at Riverside Marketing Solutions. Stephen, I want you to tell everybody the Heartland Mini Golf thing, because when you told me this, I thought that's genuinely clever. What'd you pull off with them? Kind of explain like what you've done, with the different advertisers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Summer concert series.
For sure. So Rachel's brother will tell you, and if you talk to Stu and Renee, they'll tell you too. When they designed that place and they developed the rooftop segment, they envisioned it being a lot more active than it actually has been. They saw it as a place for people to gather and have just enjoy themselves and kind of escape the actual mini golf course. And what I was able to do, I approached Stu and Renee, gave them my idea of having live music up there. And the best part is I told them that it wouldn't cost them a penny. And they asked, how am I going to do that? And I said, we're going to get it paid for through music sponsors. All these local businesses, they love to get their name out there. The very first event we created, I reached out to Casey and Romy. Everybody knows those guys. They're E-Town's favorite band or duo. And I gave Casey the idea, and he's like, man, I'm not even sure you can pull this off. He's like, but I love the idea. So we had this whole VIP experience on the rooftop with Casey and Romy. And the cool part about it and the way we marketed it was you're not stuck in this packed room. You're outdoor. It's a more intimate experience with the performers.
You said you got 17
really
local businesses to sponsor their summer concert series?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So, what is that? I think you even said you had like a little set list for the artists to call out some of those different businesses during their show and things like that.
Everyone that we did a Facebook shout out, social media with the fact that they sponsored, and then we gave a list to Casey, and on every break he would talk about each business, a little segment, so everybody got a little recognition.
So that's pretty cool. So this venue gets great live music all summer now. The sponsors get in front of the crowd that's already out having a good time, and nobody had to break the bank. You got it covered.
That's the best part about it is they've got live entertainment almost every Thursday and Friday night. We're considering doing Saturdays as well out there for them. But yeah, we've got some people coming that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to afford. One of my favorites that I'm looking forward to is Layla Spring. She's coming in August, and then she's going to come back in October, and we're going to do a special event out there called the Layla Spring Spooktacular. So she's going to have a contest, costume contest for all different age brackets. It's going to be a lot of fun, and they didn't have to pay. They do have to pay something at some point, but it all fluctuates. It helps eliminate and lower that price so that we can actually get quality entertainment out there.
And then you get like businesses, some probably not super expensive ways to get their name out there too. Well, when people are having fun, which I always think is great. It's kind of like how we do it here on Hardin Local. We shout people out, but then we have sponsors that pay for us to do it too, kind of like you are to do. It's one of those things. I just think it was a pretty smart idea. So if there's any businesses out there that have venues in Hardin County that are looking to maybe offload some of that management or offset some of the cost, you need to talk to Stephen. You need to call him at...
Yeah, we can absolutely set that up.
Yeah, 270-234-7822. Again, that's 270-234-7822. So, if you want somebody to help you with your talent, managing talent at your venue for shows or just coming to events, but you do a lot of other things too as well. You can create revenue for venues like by putting ads on napkin dispensers or anything, right? We were even joking about urinal cakes or whatever,
Oh, yeah. I mean, anywhere you want to throw an advertisement, we can do it. There's always somebody out there that's willing. So one of my slogans is making small business a big deal. So I try to find affordable opportunities for the guy just starting out all the way up to, the well-established businesses. There's something for everybody. So napkin dispensers out at Bowie's and Big Mouths, it's like it's $5 for one napkin dispenser window, but you could buy 10, you could buy 5, you can buy the whole restaurant. Far as that goes, we do table tents, coasters, and my favorite is the digital advertising. That's my bread and butter, and that's probably
where you put screens up there and run it like a digital billboard at the business.
Yep, exactly.
Right. But you said you'd profit share that back to the business, so this is like also another revenue stream for a business.
Yeah, that's the best part is it. I pay them to allow me to do this in their restaurant. Okay. They get a huge portion. They actually get a larger portion than I get. And then not only that, but I cover the expenses. So if they don't have napkin dispensers, I purchase them. They don't have table tents, I provide all of that stuff. They just run their business like normal and, get extra income just for having space.
Yeah. And you say you're real understanding about if a business doesn't want a certain advertiser, then you honor those things, even if they're part of your group of advertisers, So it's kind of like having... Go ahead.
I won't just walk in the door and plaster your whole business with advertisements all over the place if someone wants to do business with me.
I sit down and listen and talk to them.
Before I put anything anywhere, I clear that with the owner. If they don't want an advertisement in a certain location, no problem.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And I also wanted to highlight real quick. So you got kind of 3 segments to your business. That one is kind of like restaurant, venue, ad management, kind of like creating your own platform that will allow other businesses to make money off their retail space or their venue space. The second one kind of ties into it, which we don't have a ton of time to talk about it, so I'll just mention it in passing. DixieTickets.com. It's a platform that you've been working on to help local folks create events and sell tickets online. So, if you're curious to learn more about that, since it's tied into business owners, you should get a hold of Stephen and talk to him at 270-234-7822.
Yeah, you can design your own venue. Super cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I looked at it. I like it. And now the bread and butter of your other services, that's the creative side. You also do ad creation, advertising opportunities, logo and brand design, SEO, web design, social media management. Let me throw that little thing you gave me up here. And yeah, I've looked at some of your work. It all looks really good. Yeah, even
We do
maybe
logo enhancement as well for any
Yeah.
business out there that wants to just upgrade what they currently have.
You sent me that like 3D Hardin local one. I haven't put it out there yet, but I am going to use it on something in the near future because I really do like it. So
I'll
appreciate
be
that.
honored.
Yeah. So we're going to move on. Let's see here. What else? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything with you. So you've told me you're more than ads. If a local business has a problem, you can often connect them to someone else in your network who fixes it. Talk about that for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of going blank at the moment.
Oh, that's fine. That's all good. I think when we were talking about it on the phone, it was just like you're a big problem solver. So if a business owner and you're sitting there talking and you hear a problem, you're gonna even if he doesn't offer to pay you to fix it, you may start thinking about it and figure out a way, and then
right. And the other thing,
because you're big on solutions.
Being in marketing, so I have a vast network of people that are advertising,
Yeah.
So if someone's looking for a home, I could point them toward Rachel. If someone needs a plumber, I can point them toward the plumbing doctor. Or, if someone needs a roof fixed, and the other part, the best part is when I get when I get a client, I become their client as well, because I'm going to use their services before I go outside of my network.
All right. And you said you're basically currently you do all the work, so you sell it, do the work. I think you said you had a drone production company you might outsource to. So 95% of your work you do on your own, which I think a lot of people in this space like, especially small business owners. They want to know you're doing the work and not outsourcing it to India or whatever. So that's great. So let's get them the offer real quick. So we've put something together for you. If you're interested in working with Stephen or doing anything in the near future, creating an ad with him normally runs $300 or something like that. But if you mention Hardin Local, for the digital, and if you saw him on Hardin Local, he could take $100 off that, so $200. And just mention that, which is a great deal, I think, for anybody that's looking that just doesn't know what they're doing, and they just want some help. To me, it sounds like Stephen has a lot of good ideas, and if you're one of these small business owners in town that, you got 1,000 different things going on, I'd shoot him a text and see if he can help you, because I think he probably could. Before we let you go, tell everybody in your own words your business name and then your phone number and that you want texted. Right now I'm having you kind of like, even though we're live, I want you saying it so I can use it in the videos that I cut out.
Yeah, absolutely. So the full legal name is Riverside Marketing Solutions, LLC. I prefer text messages first at 270-234-7822. I encourage everyone to go to my website and look at the services I offer. It is riversidemarketingky.com. You can find me on Facebook. I'm primarily on Facebook, but I do have a TikTok as well. And like I told Phil, anyone that wants to do digital advertising at the locations I sell advertising at, I will give you $100 off an advanced ad, which normally runs $300.
All right. Thank you, Stephen, for sponsoring this week's episode, and thank you for your service. We've got a local Marine who came home, rebuilt, and now he's in the corner of every small business, or wants to be in the corner of every small business in this county. Let's help him get there. Like he says, local business guy, he's got your six. Go give him a text at 270-234-7822. We will talk at you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Scott. Britt, Michelle. Thank you, guys.
Have a great day. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Stephen.
Talk to you later.
I love that.
Look at us. Right? It was great. I hadn't really known the guy that well. I know of him and everything, and then we've talked for probably an hour or more over the past week, and just been pretty blown away with some of the creativity coming out of his mind. So
well, and I already went to his website. It's very impressive. You need to go to riversidemarketingky.com. I mean, the amount of different things he offers, and it's just very professional. I will be definitely reaching out to him in the future for some of the stuff that we're doing.